Well, welcome back, dear listeners, to the Therapy Unzipped podcast. This is Tom, your host, with my good friend Brett, and we're just gonna talk today and see what comes up. We're kind of curious. We've had an interesting week, not terrible, but not great, just interesting. So I'm sure you can relate to that, having interesting weeks. And we'd love to hear from you. So please send in your questions
Mhm.
to therapy questions at therapyunzip.com, and we'd love to answer them. So what are you guys dealing with out there? What do you need from us? How can we help? So anyway, good to see you, Brett.
Good to see you, Tom. There's nothing going on in the world right now. It's so dang boring. I mean, what is there to talk about?
Nothing, right? It's so boring.
Well, I mean, the people that we talk to on a daily basis, professionally, are coming in and they are losing their minds.
Yep. Yeah. Hmm.
Everyone is very on edge with things that are happening in the world. And, we have to talk a lot about things that are in your control, things that are out of your control,
Hmm.
frustration tolerance, and those kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
been an
Things that
interesting week.
things that are within your control, that becomes a running theme. And
Yep.
as therapists, we're not robots or automatons. We have our own thoughts, feelings, opinions, our own experiences. We have our own stances on things and our own biases and the likes. But of course, in the office, or in the therapeutic environment, we have to be somewhat neutral, and that can be challenging for us sometimes. And let's just be real about that. Because we're not neutral, biased individuals by nature because we're human beings, but we have to put that on to be present and to meet our clients where they are at. And you know what? Even though we've had some training in that and experience in doing that over the years, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to do. So, hey, we're in Florida, and I'm in Vero Beach in particular, and I don't necessarily share the same kind of views that the rest of the population does. But it's not that I'm leaning, or heavily on one side or the other. More in the middle, but I have to maintain that neutrality when interacting with people. And so it's funny. My wife and I were talking about it. Just kind of talking about politics and clients and how they're on one side of the of the other because it's so polarized. And she's like, I don't know how you do it. And I said, well, if you would ask any of my clients which side I'm on, they'd probably say their side.
Right,
Even though I haven't said or done anything that would
right.
put me on that side, but just being there to hold the space for them,
Mhm.
because I don't need to necessarily judge. I'm not here to judge.
Right.
I'm just here to help them have the kind of lives that they want.
It always goes, we always have those norms or rules or our ethics that go through our head, when we're doing our things professionally. The code of ethics was beat into our heads years ago, and we can almost recite them verbatim because they're so important to us that we follow our code of ethics and our personal beliefs, right? And it's just so funny that people come to us and they test our boundaries and they test our ethics, and inside we're just screaming.
Right. Yeah.
And I sent you that meme this week where every therapist right now, and it's just the patient comes in and goes, I can't believe that.
Right. Yep. I know that was spot on.
And it's just like, and people are just, you know, going off and spouting, and you're just, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how are you managing that right now? So how's that spilling over into your personal life? So,
Yeah.
is that providing any conflicts for you? So tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Inside, we're just screaming. Ah.
Right. Well, and we've talked about this before that there's a serious lack, and probably not individuals' faults of critical thinking and critical analysis because we're being bombarded with all the stuff on the internet, on the news, on social media. And so people become the victims of that. And depending on what they consume, they
Right.
start to gravitate towards that side, but they're not taking in the full scope, the full gamut of what there is out there, nor do they even really fully understand, not, I don't either, what's real, what's actually happening, because everything's being kind of force fed to us. So, when somebody comes in, I take that with a grain of salt that, well, that's the stuff that they're consuming.
Right.
That's how they were raised. That's how their family believes. They're kind of the victim of that. So I'm not going to
Or
necessarily hold that against them.
or that's the algorithm that's feeding, because on social media, what you watch, what you spend time on, they send you more of that. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of social media. They want to
Yeah.
consume your time with
Yeah.
information that they think you are interested in. So if you're leaning left, you're going to get all left stuff. If you're leaning right, right stuff, and you don't get a mix of all of that. And
Right.
the other, not only just social media, but let's just talk about mainstream news
Yeah.
sources. I mean, the two biggest ones, CNN and Fox. I mean, you have the same story that comes out, and it's just twisted in
Yeah.
two way different directions based on which channel you happen to be watching.
Right.
And I encourage, that's number one. Number two, I encourage you to find other news sources. There are lots of them out there. You're going to have to find your own. They're more international, not based in the United States.
Yeah.
Reuters, BBC, there's a lot of them out there that are really good. Um,
Yeah.
but besides a lot of the stuff that we're fed in this country.
Mhm.
Outside of that, it amazes me that people will see something on Facebook or TikTok and then they just believe it, right? They 100% believe it. And if something seems weird, I always start Googling it. I got to fact check this thing,
Yeah.
and more times than not, it's just not true. It's this,
Huh.
they've created something. And the one that really killed me was somebody sent me a meme where it had the ICE police, whatever, that are
Yeah.
rounding up, dangerous criminals in this country.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they were arresting this guy that had a shirt on that said Latinos for Trump, and he's being arrested by ICE, and it's like, oh, FOFA kind of thing. People are
Yeah.
getting what they deserve. And all he had to do was, Latinos for Trump arrest, Google that, and then all these articles pop up about how it's not true. Snoops or whatever is,
Oops.
it's not true. There's a picture of this guy, he didn't have anything on the back. And it's like, all you had to do was Google that thing for 7 seconds to learn that wasn't true. But you reposted it on your story and you were,
Right.
making such a big deal of it, and you couldn't spend 5 seconds to fact check this thing.
Correct. Yep.
So,
They're rounding up the criminals, the roofers and the landscapers.
right. And I learned that there's a huge boycott of Coca-Cola right now.
Mm,
Apparently, allegedly, and I did fact check this, and there seems to be some validity to it. I don't know how much, but that it's some Coca-Cola distribution plant or some facility. They called in ICE on their own employees.
wow.
Yeah, that they knew were illegal. So I showed up and arrested a bunch of people out of a Coca-Cola plant, and if there was any more people that were devoted to a product, it was Latinos and Coca-Cola, and I guess
Yeah.
apparently that's didn't go over well.
Wow, that's intense.
Yeah, so
So it's definitely not boring. There's a lot of stuff out there.
it's not boring. What does it Confucius say? May you live in interesting times. Thanks,
Right.
Confucius. I don't need it
Right.
this
It was, yeah,
interesting.
something like that, or shit happens or
Right.
something.
I'm done with interesting times. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're in them.
We are living in interesting times. I know. And so I mean, this is, I don't know how therapeutic this is, but, um, you know, pay attention to the information that's coming at you and think about it critically, right?
Yeah.
Is that true? Can that be true? How do I find out if that's true? Do a little research yourself. Check out a different news source or a different area that information's coming from. Do
Yeah.
some critical thinking. Don't just eat all the stuff that somebody's feeding you because that's whatever side you're sitting in. I mean, let's
Right.
think critically here.
Yeah. You are what you eat. or you are
Most
what you
definitely.
consume. So what are you consuming?
Absolutely.
I think that's a great topic. Maybe we name the show that. What are you consuming? Think
Yeah.
about what you are consuming from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Like, what are you engaged with? You know,
Hmm.
who are you talking to? Who are you listening to? What podcasts do you listen to? You know, what's your social media look like? What are when you're on TikTok or Reels or whatever, what are the videos that you're seeing?
Hmm.
Again and again and again per the algorithm based on
Hmm.
what you've liked, based on what you've commented on, or based on how long you've watched that particular video. And what are you watching on TV? What kind of movies? What kind of shows? You know, what streaming service are you consuming? Because all of that has commercials and advertisements and news and reports and all these things that
Hmm.
you may not even be consciously aware of. When you're on
Right.
a website, there's a whole slew of advertisements that are on the left, on the top, that are on pop-ups here and there, and you just scroll past them and you just
Hmm.
mindlessly, you don't realize that they're actually being absorbed. And so
Hmm.
think about where you're going. How are you surfing? Like, what are you consuming?
Hmm.
Because you are what you eat.
And a big question that I've been asking the folks that I work with over the past probably couple of years that I've never asked, in 25 years of doing this, that never even occurred to me. But in the last past couple of years, I've asked, tell me what you enjoy doing that doesn't involve electricity,
Hmm.
because we need to develop some of those pursuits. What does that mean? What do you mean no electricity?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't involve a screen or a TV or a video game or a this or a phone or an app, or
Right.
what do you do that brings you joy that doesn't involve electricity?
Yep.
That's usually what I get.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I would encourage everyone to develop that, you
That's
know?
powerful. That is
Yeah.
powerful because I mean, when I just thinking about me, everything has to do with
Mhm.
electricity in some sort. I mean, I'm working out this morning in the garage. I've got the radio playing. It's
Mhm.
on a radio station. There are ads in it.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Cars for kids, you know.
87775.
Yeah, but I mean, we're consuming, or I'm if I'm on the rowing machine, you know, I'm listening to a podcast, or if I'm going out for a walk, you know, I've been listening to an audiobook or a podcast or something that I'm still consuming stuff.
Right. I had, and I do, I listen to music or a podcast when I'm out walking or, whatever, doing some cardio. And the other day, I get out 5 minutes from my house and my earbuds died. Like I didn't have them recharged. And then I can't
Yeah.
believe I did that, number one. So I had those 2 minutes of panic. Like, what am I going to do? Do I go back and do I get my wired set? I mean, I actually, these things went through my mind. Do I interrupt my workout so that I can, and I was like, you're ridiculous, right? You can do a
Just do
cardio
it.
workout without,
Right.
take them out and like look around. I don't know, listen to the bird singer,
Right.
idiot. And it was cool. I saw things that I don't usually see. I heard things I don't usually hear. I was paying
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
So it was great. And I've committed to myself that I'm going to do that more often. I'm not
Yeah.
going to plug in all the time.
Uh, I suggested for a client yesterday who's dealing with a very difficult task regarding employment. And this is a top tier, highly educated professional in her field, and needed to write a letter. And I said, you know what? Go out for a walk. No phone or anything. Go out for a walk and think about how you want to construct and write this letter. Come back and do something nice for yourself, some self-care, and then write the letter.
Mhm.
She went out for a walk, wrote the letter in her head, came back in, wrote it. I don't know if there was some self-care in between, but wrote it and sent it and had a fantastic, phenomenal experience with it.
Mhm.
You can too do that. Go out for a walk without your earbuds, without your phone. Um,
Mhm.
even take, you know, maybe you're wearing your watch because I wear the watch just to calculate the distance so that I close all of my rings, you know. Um, but see how that feels. Just take off all electronics and just go out for a walk for half hour. See
Right.
what happens. You'll
Yeah.
be in your mind. You'll be forced to be in your mind, which
Mhm.
hello can be a really good intervention. I mean, we do EMDR. That's all about being in your mind and staying with it and not avoiding anything. And magical things happen.
For sure. And we live in Florida, so we're used to hurricanes and storms and whatever, and our electricity goes out more often than it ever has in any other
Right.
part of the country I've lived in. But so you have to learn how to manage without electricity. What are do I have some food stores? Do I have my mini rabs that I can just crack open and eat? Do I have,
Right.
a few books lined up that I want to read that,
Right.
do I have some, form of light that I can, use to manage my day, candles
Yeah.
or flashlights or whatever. So, and I think about, the way that things are going, I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that our grid could go down for a short period of time, a long period of time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I just think I've had these thoughts sometimes like, what's going to happen in this country if the grid goes down for, I mean, 24 hours? I think people would lose their minds.
Yeah. It won't be good.
It
Chaos.
won't be good.
Yeah.
So, and I plan for, I don't expect it to happen. I'm not waiting for it to happen, but I kind of plan for it. So I have my books, I have my, candles,
Yeah.
I have some batteries, I have, I have some food stores. I'm ready for something like that. And it's
Yeah.
fact, I almost like relish it. I mean, Floridians, I know I'm gonna get crap for saying this, but sometimes we relish a little good storm once in a while. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. The lights go out, you know.
Right. Changes things up a little bit.
Yeah,
And you know what? Good to kind of challenge ourselves to do that. Why don't you try spending a day without any television?
yeah,
Try
yeah.
that. Talk to your partner.
Right.
Talk about stuff.
We
Talk
have
about
Dry
life.
January where people give up alcohol for a month. So,
Yeah.
like, pick one day at 24 hours. And I know you can't give up electricity altogether because you got to
Yeah.
live your life, but to give up your phone as far as you can, as far as not working, you got to work, but give up
Right.
your phone, give up your TV, give up all those things and see what happens. Try to live a
Yeah.
day.
And I know that probably strikes like utter chaos and anxiety and fear in the hearts of those
Fear into the
listening out
heart of
there.
men.
Yeah. The shadow knows.
Eh,
Yeah, just don't watch TV. I mean, I even thinking about it for me is like, oh God, we can't have the TV on, man. What's that going to be like? I mean, I got to try it out. I got to push myself to try that out and challenge myself to just spend a day
yeah,
without any television and without any entertainment via
yeah,
the phone. Like I can answer text messages or phone calls, for the important people in my life, but for the most part, like, don't, Tom, don't watch Reels or TikTok or be on social media. Don't watch any movies or television on your phone. Turn the TV off and don't listen to a podcast. Don't listen
right,
to radio when you're driving around. Just
right.
have like a detox from that stuff just for one day
One
and see
day.
how you feel. I bet you it'll feel amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And
Who's
I
up
don't
for that
know.
challenge?
I mean, and I don't, some people can't obviously for medical reasons, but I don't, if you've ever tried like fasting for 24 hours. I
Hmm.
mean, you feel great, I do anyway. Some people can't handle it. Some people are sensitive to that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
man, when I go 24 to 48 hours fasting, I feel energized. I feel good. I feel cleaned out, it's a
Right,
good
right.
feeling. I
Hmm.
used to, back when I was doing intermittent fasting, I did the intermittent fasting for months and months. But every Tuesday was a 24, it was actually like a 36-hour fast.
Yeah.
But back then I was teaching on Tuesday nights from like 5:30 to 8:30 or something. So I worked all day, ran to the university, taught all night, and then just run home and so I didn't think about it, didn't have time to worry about eating. But I
Yeah.
fasted every Tuesday and people and I felt great. I lost a bunch of weight, I felt good, I felt energized. It was a good thing.
Yeah. So I think I would want to encourage you out there who are listening to this to challenge yourself
Yeah.
with one of those things. Try a full 24 hours without consuming any uh, internet, social media,
Yeah.
television, radio, all that stuff. Anything that involves some sort of advertising or commercials or
Hmm.
entertainment, and see if you can come up with a way to entertain yourself just by yourself, even if it's just a book. How good does it feel when you go outside in the sun on a nice, warm day, not too hot, not too cold, and you just read a book without having any electronic light? And gosh, dog, that's amazing.
Mhm. That vitamin D is so good.
I need more of that. Need more of
Mhm. Yeah, it's getting nice here in Florida. Finally, winter's over. Gosh, it was
that.
terrible.
Right.
It was an awful 10
Yeah.
days we had.
Right. We had some cold ones, which
Mm,
was good. And I enjoy that.
mm.
And it's funny because if it'll be like more than 3 days in a row of it being cold, I'll be like, I'm sick of this cold. It's
You know,
45. I'm
I've
sick of
lived
this.
in I've lived in Florida 13 years, and over the 13 years, I've turned on the heat like for a day when I
Yeah.
got it cold, something like that. But usually never more than a day or two. We had the heat on for like a week straight here, and it's
Yeah.
like I am not built for this. I don't do no, I don't do the
Yeah.
cold. So I'm like doing international searches, like how close can I get to the equator?
And you live in Chicago.
I know, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
What are you consuming? I
what are
think
you
that's
consuming?
important. I'd love to keep the conversation going about that. And I'd
Absolutely.
love to encourage you to just, you don't have to change anything or do anything. Just
Mhm.
observe, what am I consuming from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep? And how is that impacting me? How is that affecting me? Just contemplate that. Just notice.
And we've talked about electronic social media, but think about food, think about alcohol, drugs, nicotine, all
Yeah.
those things. They are impacting you, and you can't do everything at once. But you know, think about we talk about a lot about good nutrition. When we eat a bunch of garbage, we feel like garbage. When you
Mhm.
have those weekends where you're binging and eating tacos and ice cream and popcorn and all that stuff, and then you just bleh, you feel
Right.
not good. So commit to doing, I'm gonna eat all like lean protein and vegetables for a day
And see
or
how
a
you
weekend
feel.
or two
Right.
days or whatever. See how I feel. You're gonna
All
feel
of that.
better.
Yeah, you're going to feel better. All of that. What are we consuming? What are
What
you
are we
consuming
consuming?
out there?
Because
And
everything that you're consuming affects you.
maybe that's one of the big reasons that we fucking hate Monday is because we destroy ourselves in so many different ways over the weekend that now we have to detox from all that and we go through
Uh,
withdrawals and now it's back to the daily grind. I know we're going back to work and going back to that. You can't just lay around and watch Netflix. But I think it's more so of like because we're eating all that junk and that garbage or we're having our cheat weekend or whatever.
right? All that
You
sugar,
consume.
all that alcohol, all that whatever.
Yeah.
All that laying around and not moving,
Right.
I'm gonna lay on the couch and watch Netflix or watch
Yeah.
sports on the weekend.
Yep.
Then you get up and you're sore and you're creaky from sitting too long.
Yeah.
So what are you consuming?
What are you
How is that
consuming?
impacting you? And what is it? What are your goals? What is it that you want to accomplish? And challenge yourself to do some different things. Everyone can challenge themselves, and it feels good to accomplish a goal. I'm gonna go without sugar for one day.
Yeah.
No soda, no candy, no nothing. And there's
See
a
how
lot
you
of
feel.
added sugars and stuff, so be careful with that. But go sugar free for a day and see
Right.
how great you feel. Well, that first day is not good if you're detoxing. You
Right.
actually feel kind of crappy, but
Well, you know what? If you can go one day without it, why not try for 2 days and
right.
see how you feel? Because maybe it takes 3 to 4 days before you start feeling like, oh, actually, this is kind of nice.
Yeah. And if you drink 3 cans of soda a day, go down to one. See how
Yeah, exactly.
you feel.
The life you want might be within your grasp
Yeah.
if you just make these changes that are within your control
Yeah.
and stop focusing on the shit that's not in your control.
Yeah. Small changes lead to bigger changes, lead to more changes. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Gets bigger
Yeah,
and bigger. One small change will lead to another.
right. But if nothing changes, hello,
Nothing changes.
nothing changes.
Yeah.
So think about that. What are you consuming? What are you eating? What are you watching? What are you taking in? Just observe that, see how it's affecting you or impacting you. At least consider that, and then decide on what you'd like to change because I'm sure you're not totally enthralled and happy with every single thing that you're doing or consuming right now. And what would you like to change? And then let's get into the action stage and start working on it. If you need help with the stages of change, go Refer to our last podcast where we talked about that.
Right.
And send us your doggone questions. We want to help you.
Send us your criticisms because we want to tell you you're wrong. No, I mean, send us your criticisms because we want to be correcting.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Send all that stuff to us.
Right. Yeah. And challenge yourself, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, whatever's going on, you can always challenge yourself to something.
Yeah,
So challenge yourself. Success feels good.
it does. Yeah. And it's within your grasp.
Mhm.
Thank you for today.
Thank you, Tom. Always a pleasure.
Not sure when you're going to be listening to this, but this is Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm sure by the time you hear this, you would have seen and know who wins, but we're going to go enjoy that. So,
Hmm. Go Kendrick Lamar.
hey.
These are not my teams this year. And okay, I mean, granted, the three-peat would be historic. Um,
Right.
Breaking the three-peat would be historic. There's a lot of great talent on the field,
Yeah.
but not my teams.
Right. Nor mine, but that's okay.
That's all right. It'll be a good game.
Enjoyable.
Commercials
Yeah.
and the snacks. I'm all down with Super Bowl snacks.
So you won't be focused on what you're consuming or care about what you're consuming this weekend, nor
Not
will
this weekend.
I.
This is the indulgent weekend.
Very good. We'll enjoy that and enjoy the recovery from that. And
Yeah.
we'll see you guys. We'll see you
All
guys
right,
next.
Tom. We'll see you. Until next time.
See you.